Imagine going to a hospital to get some gallstones removed, a relatively simple and straightforward treatment. But after you get out of surgery, instead of getting better, you get seriously ill. High fevers and lots of pains. It appears you got infected with a nasty bacterium that can hardly be treated with drugs. That's not what you hope for when you go to the hospital to get treated. But it is what happened to about 30 people in a single hospital. And after a while, it appeared that the same disaster struck in about 40 hospitals worldwide. What happened? It took a thorough forensic engineering investigation to find the cause of these outbreaks and to figure out how these could be prevented in the future. In this video we will see how the first outbreak was discovered and hopefully find the first lead to the cause of it.
In the year 2013, the Fimostad Medical Center in the Netherlands noticed a sudden and prolonged increase of patients who got infected with a nasty bacterium during their hospital stay. The bacterium was Pseudomonas aeruginosa, one they should not have in their system. Patients who are already a bit weak can get seriously ill from this bacterium, and if left untreated, they could even die. And what's worse is that this particular type of bacterium was resistant to most available antibiotics, the drugs to battle these bacteria with. This made the risk for weak and infected patients even higher. So there was an urgent need to find and eliminate the cause of the outbreak. But how? After the first 4 patients were identified by sheer coincidence during routine tests, the hospital epidemiology department started screening more patients. They found 30 infected patients over a period of 4 months and started reviewing all these patients' records. This is because at first sight it was not clear what these patients had in common. There are many routes through which bacteria can be transferred in a hospital, like via poorly cleaned beds, medical devices used on several patients, or bad hand washing by nurses or visitors. The hospital found out that the infected patients had been on different departments for all kinds of procedures. But after much searching, it appeared that all patients had one common factor. At some time, they got treated with a so-called ERCP endoscope, and in particular a new model of that device, which the hospital introduced shortly before the outbreak started. ERCP stands for Endoscopic Retrograde Cholangiopancreatography, which is a procedure for investigating the ducts or tubes that drain the liver, gallbladder and pancreas. These ducts sometimes get clogged and then have to be opened. And this is done using an ERCP endoscope, which we will call ERCP scope to keep it simple. This is a special kind of flexible endoscope often used for treatments such as removing gallstones. This endoscope is a long, flexible medical device with a bending section in the far end of its insertion tube, which is controlled using a couple of steering knobs on the control grip. The tip of the ERCP scope will at some moment become the main focus of our investigation. In the tip, there is a sideways viewing camera so the physician sees what he is doing. And a light source because, well, we're all quite dark on the inside. Through the entire insertion tube, there's a working channel through which the physician can put long and flexible instruments to perform surgery deep inside the body. A tiny moving arm in the endoscope tip, called a forceps elevator, can move up and down to guide these small instruments. During a gallstone removal procedure, an ERCP scope is inserted into a patient's body through the mouth, esophagus and stomach until the bile duct is reached. Then, while viewing the duct with a sideways looking camera, forceps are inserted through the working channel and guided into the bile duct by the forceps elevator to grasp and remove the gallstones. After each use, the ERCP scope goes through an extensive cleaning and disinfecting process to make sure each patient is treated with a perfectly clean scope. So, now you've met our suspect. But how did it cause all these patients to contract bacterial infections? After all, it was cleaned after each use, so what went wrong? The investigation continues.